In today's C language beginner tutorial, we will talk about if-else statement. So here you can see the syntax. It is in the style one true brace style, usually use curly braces even for single statements if. So here we have at first our condition, and here's the statement to be executed if the condition is true. And we can expand the if to if else. Here we have still our condition. Here we check if the condition is true, and then the addition is the else. The else is being run when this condition is not being fulfilled. So it will jump right here to J statement to be executed if the condition is false. And we use relational operators for the expression. For example, if age equals 21, then do this, else do da da da. Right? Sometimes you do not have to use an else. Same, you can also check several conditions at once. So as you can see, we check whether x equals or is bigger than 18, but at the same time, as you can see, it has to be inferior to 21 or equal 21. So we will check the numbers 18, 19, 20, and 21. Then if this condition is true, it will do the things that you wrote down in the bracket. And if you decide to put an else, you can put an else and another statement that has to be executed if the condition is false. We can expand also the if else to if else if to an if else if letter. Here's the syntax. It is the same as before, except that here we have instead of else an else if, and then we finish with else. This letter will, with several options, is checked sequentially. That means we start from the top and go to the bottom. When one block is true, the check is being finished. So if this is true, the code is being finished. If this is true, or if this is false and this is true, then this is being finished. The code finishes at this point. If the two of them are false, it will execute the default statement. Last but not least, the nested if statement. Nested means that we have an if in another if statement, and that we really can do this also with if else and if else if. But it is not suggested to nest if statement. It will be more difficult to read and understand them. I have some example prepared for you. Okay, in this example, we will check a password with 14 characters. And here, therefore, we use if else. The user will be asked to enter password. We have reserved 14 places. We have this function called strcmp. strcmp is for string comparing. When the strings are equal, it returns 0. You can see we have here our password that the user will enter, right? Our password in this case will be Tonka in course. And if this password and this are equal, so the input of the user are equal, it will return 0. This condition will be right, and it will print out you entered the correct password. Else, that's not equal Tonka in course. It will skip to the else and will write you entered the wrong password. Try again. You will first try it with this one and run the code now. You run the code now. Here it asks, please enter the password. You type it in, press enter, and it will say you entered the correct password. Okay, now we will do this again with the wrong password. See, you entered the wrong password, try again. Okay, we have another example. We also use if-else statement. In this case, we want to check whether this, as you can see, which I've declared with A, equals A, and it will print the letter to be output is. Else print it is not the first letter of the alphabet. The letter to be output is A. See, we can change it now up to B, for example, or Z. It is not the first letter of the alphabet. And I have another example for you. In this case, we have the if-else-if letter. So we want to compare numbers and check whether they're inferior or equal to one another. We will ask the user for one number and then a second number. And the first condition is number 1 has to be bigger than number 2. So if this condition is fulfilled, it'll print out number 1 is bigger than number 2. The if-else-if letter will be finished. If it's not true, as if, so the second condition, number 1 is inferior to number 2, then we will print out number 1 is inferior to number 2. And if none of the above is true, our default statement will be number 1 equals number 2. Okay, let's try this. Please enter an integer. I will press 1 and 2, and we'll see it'll skip to this part. So we press number 2, then give one number 1, and we will be here. This condition is fulfilled. Now I want to do the last condition. I enter two equal numbers, 1 and 1. And you can see the two numbers are equal. Thanks for your attention.